Um, so today we have some really wonderful guests with us. We have Vanya Didi, who is currently interning from Microsoft. We have Garv Bhaiya, who will join us very shortly. He is doing his internship from PayPal. We have Harsidak Bedi Bhaiya, who has done his internship from Pilot Plans. And we have Tijal Didi, who is doing her internship from Amazon. All these companies sound these wonderful internships, and what can we people do to have a chance to grab one of these? So let me start with Bedi Bhaiya. Uh, Bedi Bhaiya has also been of CCS, and Bedi Bhaiya, like I would like to first of all ask, how was your journey? How did you got this amazing internship?
यप तो पहले मैं थोड़ा बताता हूँ कि कंपनी क्या थी एंड क्या काम करती थी तो पायलट प्लान्स इज अ कैनेडियन स्टार्टअप एंड मैंने ये लास्ट ईयर ज्वाइन करी थी आई वर्क देयर फॉर ऑलमोस्ट एन ईयर लास्ट ईयर के समर्स में ही जब समर वेकेशन शुरू हुई थी सेकेंड ईयर की मेरी तब आई ज्वाइन एंड ये मतलब जब वो रिमोट वर्क का हाइप चल रहा था दैट टाइम आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग फॉर रिमोट जॉब्स क्योंकि आई न्यू मेरा टेक स्टैक अच्छा है एंड थोड़ा एफर्ट करूंगा तो कोई ना कोई जॉब मिल जाएगी रिमोटली तो वही एम करा था मैंने सेकेंड ईयर में फिर एंड अगर एग्जैक्ट टाइमलाइन बताऊं तो आई स्टार्टेड अप्लाइंग फॉर internships and remote jobs I think 1 month before the start of summer vacations तो अराउंड मई में मैंने प्रोसेस शुरू कर दिया था एंड टू बी ऑनेस्ट इट्स लक एंड नंबर्स गेम मैंने आई थिंक 50-60 जगह तो अप्लाई करा होगा एंड मेन वेबसाइट्स आई यूज्ड वाज इंटर्नशाला वेल फाउंड एंड लिंक्डइन इन तीन जगह ही मैंने ज्यादा ट्राई करा एंड पायलट प्लान्स आई फाउंड ऑन वेल फाउंड एंड वेल फाउंड इफ यू डोंट नो इट्स अ वेबसाइट जहाँ पर स्टार्टअप्स हायर करते हैं यूजली ना फॉर डेवलपर्स अदर रोल्स के लिए भी बट मेनली डेवलपर्स एंड इधर मुझे ये पायलट प्लान्स का मिला था देवर हायरिंग फॉर सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स बट क्योंकि मैं कॉलेज में था मुझे इंटर्नशिप भी करनी थी तो आई एनीवेज फिल्ड देयर फॉर्म एंड मैंने फॉर्म में स्पेसिफाई करा था दैट आई वांट टू डू एन इंटर्नशिप देयर एंड the process was कि first they sent me a coding test link and that coding test was very simple very basic DSA I think वो बस ये check करना चाहते थे कि you have that minimal logical thinking because startups में usually they don't require that heavy DSA की ऐसे मुश्किल DP questions पूछेंगे या graph questions पूछेंगे that was very simple DSA की Pascal triangle कर लो या Fibonacci series इस type के so after that test was done about a week later मुझे उनसे रिस्पॉन्स आया कि दे शेड्यूल्ड एन इंटरव्यू एंड टोटल मेरे 3 इंटरव्यू राउंड्स हुए थे द फर्स्ट वन वाज प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर के साथ था वो राउंड एंड उसमें दे जस्ट वांटेड टू नो अबाउट मी माय एक्सपीरियंस कि अभी तक क्या क्या चीजें करी है मैंने क्या क्या प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाए बेसिक चीजें मतलब नथिंग टू टेक्निकल आफ्टर दैट राउंड आई थिंक अनदर वीक ऑफ वेटिंग के बाद आई गॉट द सेकेंड इंटरव्यू राउंड लिंक उसमें देयर वर 2 इंजीनियर्स company के and that was a totally technical interview round and इसमें कुछ भी DSA नहीं था of course startups don't look for that so it was basically a live coding session they gave me a task पहले तो they had made an API and उस API को यूज करके I had to make a simple front end application in React तो वो उनके साथ लाइव कोड करा डिस्कस करी थोड़ी चीजें दे देन आस्क्ड मी टू ऐड सम थिंग्स लाइक अगर लाइव डेटा स्ट्रीम हो रहा है तो उसे कैसे तुम फेच करोगे ऐसे एंड अगर तुम्हारे पास डिसेंट टेक्नोलॉजी है लाइक यू हैव मेड 2-3 प्रोजेक्ट्स तो तुम्हें ऐसे इंटरव्यू राउंड्स का आइडिया हो जाएगा कैसे करना है ना तो आफ्टर दिस क्वेश्चन उन्होंने फिर मेरे से थोड़ा सिस्टम डिजाइन का पूछा इनफैक्ट सिस्टम डिजाइन स्टार्टर्स में इफ यू आर लुकिंग फॉर डेवलपमेंट रोल्स हेल्पफुल हो जाता है बिकॉज वो डीएससी जैसी चीजें पूछते नहीं तो दे नीड समथिंग एक्स्ट्रा टू फिल्टर आउट कैंडिडेट्स ताकि उन्हें अच्छे डेवलपमेंट वाले कैंडिडेट्स मिले तो दे आस्क्ड मी असिस्टेंट डिजाइन क्वेश्चन की नोशन जैसा एप्लीकेशन डिजाइन करो एंड मुझे मैंने सिस्टम डिजाइन कुछ करा नहीं था, तो मैंने थोड़े अपने इंट्यूशन से बोल दिया कि ऐसे डेटाबेस बनाएंगे एंड ये फील्ड्स रखेंगे उसमें। एंड मुझे आता नहीं था, बट दे वर हेल्पफुल अलोंग द वे, तो मैंने कुछ ना कुछ करके फिगर आउट करके उन्हें बता दिया। एंड ऐसा नहीं था कि वो कुछ बोल नहीं, रिस्पॉन्स नहीं कर रहे थे, हेल्प नहीं कर रहे थे, दे वर हेल्पिंग मी आउट थ्रू आउट दी टेस्ट। इट वाज मोर ऑफ अ डिस्कशन देन अ टेस्ट ऑफ मी, तो दैट वाज वेरी गुड। एंड इस राउंड के बाद, दिस वाज द ओनली टेक्निकल राउंड, इसके बाद आई ईमेल अनदर वीक लेटर फॉर एन इंटरव्यू विद द सीईओ ऑफ द कंपनी। एंड स्टार्टअप्स में ऐसा ही होता है, बिकॉज द टीम साइज इज वेरी स्मॉल। यूजुअली आप प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर के साथ इंटरव्यू करोगे, देन टेक्निकल पीपल, एंड उसके बाद फिर डायरेक्टली आई थिंक सीईओ वांट्स टू टेस्ट की इफ दिस एम्प्लॉय इज अ गुड फिट। एंड लास्ट इंटरव्यू वाज विद द सीईओ, एंड उसने बेसिक क्वेश्चंस ही पूछे अबाउट मी एंड व्हाई आई वांटेड टू जॉइन, एंड क्या आता है मुझे ऑलरेडी, एंड व्हाट डू आई एक्सपेक्ट आउट ऑफ द कंपनी। एंड ये सारे आंसर्स मैंने पहले से प्रिपेयर करे हुए थे। वन की जब आप स्टार्टअप्स में अप्लाई कर रहे हो, रिमोट जॉब्स में अप्लाई कर रहे हो, a very beneficial thing that will set you apart from other candidates is कि आपने कंपनी को पहले थोड़ा स्टडी कराओ। जैसे पायलट प्लान्स, इफ आई टेल यू ब्रीफली, ये था एक ट्रैवल इंडस्ट्री का स्टार्टअप है, तो इट हेल्प्स पीपल मेक ट्रैवल आइटनरीज। तो इसके बारे में मैंने थोड़ा पहले से ही पढ़ा था कि इनका क्या काम होता है एंड कल्चर क्या है कंपनी का, तो रिलेटेड में स्पेशली विद द सीईओ वन, तो उसकी वजह से ही लाइक माय आंसर्स। एंड around 3-4 days later only I got the mail कि internship ये basically job मिल गई। एंड इसमें रिमोट जॉब्स में वन थिंग दैट इज रियली गुड इज कि इसका कुछ फिक्स टाइमलाइन नहीं है। जैसे अगर आप बिग टेक्स में इंटर्नशिप्स करते हो, दैट इज यूजुअली ओनली फॉर 2 months ड्यूरिंग द समर सीजन, एंड उसके बाद फिर 6 months लेटर ऑन, एंड उसके बाद फुल टाइम यू कैन ज्वाइन। रिमोट जॉब में वेन एवर यू फील दैट यू आर कॉन्फिडेंट इन योर टेक स्किल्स, यू कैन अप्लाई फॉर जॉब्स, एंड इफ यू आर लकी आपको एक जॉब मिल जाएगी। तो इसमें फॉर पीपल हु प्लान टू डू रिमोट जॉब्स, एंड आई वुड से कि जो लोग सिर्फ सोच रहे रिमोट जॉब्स के लिए, वो ही ना ट्राई करें अप्लाई करने का, बिकॉज इन दिस जॉब मार्केट यू कैन नेवर बी श्योर कि अगर आप सिर्फ बिग टेक कंपनीज के लिए एम कर रहे हो, फैंग या फिर कंपेरेबल, कि आपको मिल जाएगी उधर, बिकॉज द कंपटीशन इज सो हाई। So the companies you apply to, remote or big techs, the better it will be for you. Now, though this was my basic journey, one coding test and 3 interview rounds, and uske baad I got the offer letter. Arman?
That was wonderful, Bhaiya. Thank you so much for telling us insights in so detail. Um, Now I will request Vanya Didi. She is currently doing her internship from Microsoft to please share her journey, that how things went.
All right, thanks, Arman. Hi, everyone. So I'm currently interning at Microsoft, and मैंने off campus apply किया था, as you guys can see in this session. And process was a bit, it was lengthy. काफी months का time था. So I'll start from the beginning. During summer vacations, I think July start में ही, I was checking their careers page and they had rolled out applications for software engineering interns. So this time there wasn't any program like Engage or anything. उन्होंने direct बस applications अपने careers page पे roll out कर दिए थे. So उधर I had applied and I made sure that I attached a cover letter as well, because जब भी if you apply on off campus, one tip I'll give is always with your resume, even if they ask or not, हमेशा एक option ज़रूर होगा to attach additional documents. So एक cover letter attach कर देना in which you highlight your achievements and you explain how your vision is aligned with the company's mission and all of that, how you feel you'll be a benefit to the company and all of that. So ये application process का था. So I applied and उसके बाद after a few months, so मैंने summer vacations में apply किया था and right before mid semester exams मुझे एक online assessment की link आई थी and it was in Codility platform. Codility Microsoft का जो platform है उसमें it wasn't CP based. मेरा जो test था it was mainly like lead code questions only. 2 questions थे, first was of DP and second graphs का question था. But इस platform जो ये test था इसमें your time, the time complexity with which you're solving as well as the speed, कि कितने जल्दी you have submitted the test. That was also considered in the parameters आपको interview round में convert करने के लिए. After that, so ये mid semester exams के पहले हुआ था, and right after mid semester exams मुझे interviews की link आ गई थी, and you had an option to choose whatever slot you prefer, and that was in first come first serve basis. तो जो मेरा interview था, so Microsoft के सारे interviews एक ही दिन में हो रहे थे, so there will be 2 rounds, दोनों technical rounds होंगे, no HR round. For my case ये हुआ था हमारे process में, तो दोनों technical rounds थे, no HR round, and both happened in the same day. So if you have qualified the first round, within 1 hour you will get an intimation that you have your second round starting at this time, and approximately 1 hour duration के within ये चीज़ हो जाती है. So first round के बाद second round, and then after 2 weeks you will get the result. Now coming to what was asked in सारी चीज़ों में, resume and applications में I had applied with a referral, although that didn't matter much because almost everyone got an OA link जितनों को मैं जानती हूँ, but it is always beneficial if you can get a referral for the same. And next ये था कि जो हमारा coding test था उसमें graphs का question था, which was mainly an easy question, rotten oranges का modification in front of them, and उसके बाद general discussion and all of that. So 45 minutes के 2 interviews होंगे, and 45 minutes में you can distribute it in such a way कि first 20 minutes में आपका resume discuss होगा, आपसे CS fundamentals पूछेंगे, and essay, and they stated very clearly that they consider the interviews as discussions rather than something which is testing you. So you have to be confident, just be calm, don't be nervous. So consider it like a discussion. If you don't know something, उनसे पूछ लो, they'll help you. So मेरा जो first interview था उसका process ये था कि पहले उन्होंने resume के बारे में पूछा, in general discussion, introduction वगैरह, and then they asked some CS fundamental questions to ऐसे warm up करने के लिए, because interview was just starting. तो CS fundamentals में they asked me DSA से related questions, rapid fire वाले, and जैसे वो मान पूछ लेंगे कि heap sort का algorithm बताओ, उसमें insertion का time और ये सारा time complexities आपके tips पे होनी चाहिए. And उसके बाद after all of this, they ask you in general also what do you feel about technology, अपने projects के बारे में बताओ. So it's a discussion. After that they start with the DSA question. अब DSA question can be either 2 questions or a 1 question with a follow up. तो मेरे साथ जो था वो था 1 question with a follow up, and मुझसे इन्होंने recursion का question पूछा था which can be optimized by DP also. So basically DP का question था, and it was a modification of knapsack and coin changing type का question था. मुझे ढंग से याद नहीं है अभी कि question क्या था, but follow up में so basically मैंने recursive approach पहले बताई थी, after that I optimized it with DP. तो ये भी एक tip है in general, if you have more time in your interview, what you can do is directly optimize solution बताने के जगह start with a brute force method and then optimize it उनके सामने. So that way they can see how you can optimize your solution, how you're thinking. अगर time बहुत कम है, that in that case if you know a better solution you can directly start with it. So first round, इसके बाद whenever you end an interview you have to ask them questions. If they'll always ask if you have any questions for me. तो उनसे हमेशा कुछ भी पूछ लो. It doesn't have to be about the interview या ऐसा कुछ भी पूछ लो. My general question used to be कि what was your first day in Microsoft like, or what was the biggest challenge you faced in Microsoft and how did you overcome it. Time you can ask. And after first round I got an intimation for my second round. Second round में भी same pattern था, but resume नहीं discuss हुआ था. So after introduction they directly started with a DSA question which was based upon doubly ended queues, and उसके बाद it was a rapid fire again, CS fundamentals, and इसमें OS बहुत पूछा था. So OS के काफी सारे उन्होंने rapid fire questions पूछे थे, and again OOPS के questions and DSA के theoretical questions. So उसके बाद normal discussion था, and then that concluded the interview. Further details मैं बता दूंगी आगे based upon whatever you guys ask, उसके according any tips और कुछ भी. But this was the process, and HR round कुछ नहीं था. After 2 weeks I got an email stating the result, and yeah, that was all for the process of Microsoft. And I've heard कि for अभी जो करंट थर्ड ईयर वाला बैच है 2026 बैच उनके लिए भी इंटर्नशिप्स रोल आउट हो चुकी है माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की. सो इफ द एप्लीकेशंस आर स्टिल ओपन आई सजेस्ट सारे लोग अप्लाई कर दो एंड इफ यू कैन गेट अ रेफरल दैट विल बी ग्रेट. So I'll answer all of your questions. जो भी अगर ज़्यादा डिटेल में पूछना है about interview tips या फिर resume, all of that based upon whatever you guys are asking. Uh, we can move forward to Garv or Tejal.
थैंक यू सो मच दीदी फॉर द वंडरफुल इनसाइट. आई वुड लाइक कि आप सब लाइक मुझे पता है बहुत डाउट्स आते हैं इस टाइम पे, तो आप लाइक अपने डाउट्स अगर आप यूट्यूब पे देख रहे हो तो यूट्यूब चैट में, और आप मीट पे देख रहे हो तो मीट की चैट पे डाल दो. एंड लाइक ऑर्डर वाइज सारे डाउट्स विल बी टेकन वेरी शॉर्टली. नाउ आई विल रिक्वेस्ट गर्व भैया to please tell about their journey. Garv Bhaiya is currently doing their internship from PayPal, and Garv Bhaiya.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. Hope I'm audible clearly.
हाँ जी भैया.
So, okay, sure. So, hi guys, I'm Gar. August or September last year, I don't remember exactly. So I just randomly saw the link somewhere on one of these Telegram channels, and and as a reflex, I just went and applied as fast as I can. And like by the time that I sent that link to my friends, it was like probably closed. So like a lot of people could not apply. And even when I talked to the HR about this, they were like, we received just too many applications that fast, so we had to close down the link. So that is like my first tip for you guys. Whenever you see an off-campus link, try to apply as fast as you can, as most of these close up real fast. You don't even know it, maybe a couple of hours and they'll be closed. So after applying, I think around October, I got the test link for the HackerRank assessment. The assessment had two parts. It had around 10 technical MCQs, and there was one DSA question as well. The DSA question was, I would say, medium to hard difficulty. It was based on priority queues. So yeah, so what matters in the test is like that you have to be 100% accurate, as well as you have to take like very less time, because there's a lot of people attending that test. So make sure to not waste any time once you're confident to go ahead with your answers. So after that test, like I did not have any sort of intimation for like a month, but around, I think somewhere around in November, I received that email for the scheduling of the interviews. So my first round was a technical round. It was with SG3. So that was basically a very, I would say, holistic round. That person kind of went like very comprehensively. They touched upon all the topics. Firstly, I was asked to share my screen and solve a DSA questions. That was also based on priority queues. I would call it of medium difficulties. After solving the question, like I was asked to modify it using like there was some other edge case, and like also tell the optimal solution and the time and space complexities. So that is something you should really know. Other than that, what I would say, like during the solving that question, I made a mistakes, like I made one or two mistakes, but my interviewer was really helpful, and he was like, just walk me through your code, whatever you're thinking. And in between he gave me like some tips or tricks to just like correct my code, and that is how I was able to solve it like correctly after like some help from him. So always discuss what you're thinking with your interviewer. It definitely helps. So after that question was done, there was a deep dive into my CV. I was like asked from almost everything about all my projects, and even some of the things I thought I would not be ever asked in an interview. Some like I remember he touched upon Arduino. I had written Arduino somewhere. So he's like, "What did you do with Arduino? How did you use it?" And like all that. So you should be really confident, and you should know everything that you've written down there. You never know when someone's going to pick that up. And like there was like another like kind of a rapid fire in the end, like why did you do this and not that. So you have to understand, even if it is a group project, you should know why you have used those particular technologies, and if you had not used that, then what would be the outcome of that. So you have to like have a really good understanding of your projects and whatever you mentioned. So after the first round, I think around a week or so later, I received that I've been selected for the second round. So the second round was was a techno managerial round. There was a very senior manager who took my interview. It was like not a very long one. I would say the first one was pretty long and it stretched around for an hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes. But the second one was like pretty short, around 20-25 minutes. I was asked a lot about my previous internship experience, and I was also asked some computer fundamentals on like a really deep level. So like be sure to like brush up your operating systems and object-oriented programming concept. That is something senior managers and people like that like to ask. And one thing I think like Vanya also mentioned is that it is really important to ask the right questions. So that is something I think like I was really nervous that my interview is going to like end in 20-25 minutes. Like maybe he's not interested in like just interviewing me at all. Like he's just doing it for the sake of it. But towards the end of the interview, I asked him like I think I asked a really good question, and that is like somehow I'm not sure if it did, but it somehow made a difference. So I asked my interviewer like consider that you have 20 years of experience, and like from your journey what are like some top 2 to 3 things you would say that a person like me should do at my stage of this career. So he gave me like some really good tips, and he was like also impressed that you might think that they have not gone through your CV or something, but he was like, I went through your CV and that is something that I like, that I've touched upon a lot of different things, and that is what like he told me to never be afraid of touching new technologies and concepts, and always try to figure out things on your own before going ahead and asking for help. So yeah, that was pretty much it. After I think a month of that second interview, I received the email that I have been selected. So guys, yeah, that was it. If you have any doubts, I'll be happy to take them at the end of the session. Thank you.
Yeah,
Over to you,
thank you so
Umang.
much, Garvia. It was wonderful to know. And like the journey of Garvia also tells कि कोई opportunity मिले तो click कर लेनी चाहिए, है ना? And now I will like Tijal Didi. She is currently doing her internship from Amazon. And please, Tijal Didi, if you can share your insights.
Hello everyone. So first of all, I'll not be able to switch on my camera. Sorry for that. But let us start with it. So currently I'm interning with Amazon, and one thing that is different about Amazon from the rest of the companies is that the all the rounds are purely DSA based. Like throughout, like I had total 4 rounds, and in none of those rounds was any sort of like oops or OS or DBMS asked. To me, like my selection happened purely on the basis of DSA. Two, like for those of you who do not know, there is something called as Amazon Wow, which is basically for girls. So you can go to that page and apply, and that is basically that if you like register on Amazon Wow, you will be getting links for weekly seminars and all. But I think via Amazon Wow itself sometimes you do get links for um, internships as well. But honestly speaking, it should have like some of you already must have applied. I'm not sure if the process has already started for this year or not, because like last year in when I was in July, I think at that time only the exam happened, something around this time last year. So I did not actually apply anywhere. I was actually a part of a Amex Makeathon last year, and I was one of the finalists. So soon after the finals, I got a mail from Amazon saying that we are looking for software interns, and this is the link you can apply. So I applied on that portal. After that, I had one round, which was a coding round. There were 2 questions. Both of them were like easy to medium. This was like some other people also from college had received this thing, but very few people had. And I think some of them had like applied through Amazon Wow, although I had not. So that is why I'm saying that if you can, then just go and apply as soon as possible. After that, like make sure that whenever you're applying off campus, try to like complete your test as soon as possible, because sometimes they put the time criteria as a tiebreaker when there are multiple applicants. So like I made sure that I complete my exam within 20 minutes so that I have a higher chance of getting selected. After this, I think around 4 to 5 days, I got an email that I have an interview, and in that interview as well, that interview was like purely DSA based. In that interview, there were two people, and they had asked me two DSA questions, and they were basically just trying to know that what is my logical thinking. They were not really looking for the best answers. They were trying to look at like your thought process. How do you basically think of an approach? So one tip which I think Vanya also mentioned is that don't if even if you know the correct answer, do not just try to jump at the optimized solution in one go. Try to discuss different approaches with your interviewer, like just tell them that this is the brute force approach, but then I am thinking that like this way we can optimize this solution. So try to discuss as many like possible solutions that with the interviewer, so that the interviewer knows that it is that you're not just trying to impress the interviewer, but also have a discussion and show the interview that like the concept at all the levels, even at the brute force and even at the optimized level. So yeah, this was my interview round. I had two questions, and one of them was easy, but the other one was like it was hard. It was not easy, I would say. And also that in for Amazon, at least for this is just for Amazon specific tips. Not this is not for this is these are not generic tips. What happened in my interview was that if you like they were making you solve as many questions as you can in 1 hour. So for those people who solved two or more than two questions correctly, they were getting selected. Anyone who was not able to solve two questions or was solving one question partially and taking a lot of time only doing one question, so most of them did not get selected. Like only those people got selected who like were able to do at least two questions properly. Yeah, so after this this was like after this I like my interview lasted for around like 45 minutes, and after I was able to do two questions, and then they said yeah, that's okay. And after that, like around 10 to 11 days, like I got another link which said that you have interview number 2, which was basically just a formal, like a formality sake interview. It was just a HR round. It was not really judging anything. It was just like a discussion, getting to know about the personality. That's all. And yeah, a few days after that, I got the congratulations email saying that you have been selected. So that was my journey for Amazon. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them towards the end of the session.
Yeah, now moving to the questions. These are the questions from YouTube chat, and like anybody can answer. So the first question is, what are the top off-campus recruiters? Like which company hires the most?
यार ऑफ कैंपस में if you see ज़्यादातर big techs hire करते ही हैं. If you take Google, Microsoft, PayPal, Amazon, इन सब की applications तो आएंगी, but the thing is competition क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, तो it becomes very difficult अगर ऑफ कैंपस है. अगर ऑन कैंपस कंपनी आ रही है इनमें से कोई, तो ट्राई करो कि तुम ऑन कैंपस में अपना बेस्ट फुट फॉरवर्ड रख रहे हो, क्योंकि ऑफ कैंपस में द कंपटीशन इज रियली वेरी हाई.
Right, like to adding on to what Harsidak said, that there are like almost all the companies, I think at least 80% of the companies which hire interns also hire through off campus. So it is not like there are a certain set of companies that only hire off campus. Other than that, I would like to say that something that I think we have missed in the session so far is the importance of cold emailing. I also did it, but like it did not work that well for me. But I know people who have like emailed recruiters with their CV and their job with their description and everything, and they were able to land interview calls. So if you guys like, if anyone is like confident of their skills and are confident that they are able, they can land interviews at big tech companies, go ahead and just cold email recruiters, and who knows, you might as well get an interview call and get selected.
Thank you so much, Priya. Next question is by Aditya. He's saying, I recently completed my web dev course and have very basic project in my resume. Like what kind of projects and how many of them do you think is good enough for getting shortlisted? Maybe in general about projects, if you can discuss. Maybe Tejal Didi and Vanya Didi.
See, in my case, even I had basic front-end projects in my resume. So, but I had asked a mentor when I was applying for internships. They said that currently, if you have any project in ML or AI, all those buzzwords, then that is something which attracts recruiters quite a lot. But other than that, mainly if you'll see in job applications, जो JD होती है, उसमें जो उनके requirements होते हैं, those are things which matter most for your resume to get shortlisted. One trick which I noticed personally was that what I used to do was जो job description होता था उनके careers page पे, उसमें they'll always write things like object oriented programming में 1 year का experience होना चाहिए and data structures, जो भी उनके keywords लिखे होते थे ना, make sure that you have those keywords in your resume, because off campus opportunities में your resume will be among a pool of lakhs of resumes. So in order to get shortlisted, ATS scanners use होते हैं, and what they do is they match your resume, they look for the keywords which are there in those company job descriptions. So make sure जो तुम्हारे, you can personalize your resumes before every company. So what I used to do was whatever is the requirement, जैसे अगर JP Morgan का है for example, so they have a certification which you can do जो हो सकता है आपको benefit दे दे. And if they've mentioned object oriented programming and if you have a certification in that या तुमने कोई course किया है, make sure you attach that. So all of these things are mainly required for you to get shortlisted in that ATS scanning process. तो and make sure that जो आपने sentences लिखे in your resume, those are short and crisp and concise. And it मतलब you can find many videos on YouTube also for how to make a resume ATS friendly. So I think this is the main important criteria. After that, projects में whatever you have mentioned, because you're interning in your 3rd year, so they won't expect you to know much at this stage. तभी many companies ka, especially in off campus, the process involves data structures and your CS fundamentals, because they don't expect you to know a lot at that stage, but whatever you have mentioned in your resume, आपको उसका हर एक word अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए, because in your resume they can ask you about that in any depths. So it doesn't matter if you have only front end projects, but if you know your projects very well, and it is beneficial if you have something to show. ऐसा if you have written about a project and if you don't have it available in your system, then that might be a disadvantage if they ask you कि उनको देखना है. So always make sure whatever project you have written, you have it available and you are able to show it to them, and you know it इतने अच्छे से कि वो कुछ भी उसके बारे में पूछ ले, you will have an answer for that. So it doesn't matter अगर आपके पास complicated projects नहीं है at this stage, because अभी they'll expect that you know nothing. But yeah, so that was what I will suggest. Baki, if anyone has something more that they'd like to add on to this, so feel
I
free.
would like to add something. जैसे अब ये तो big techs के लिए हो गया, but for remote jobs जहाँ पर they mainly look for development skills, उसमें I would suggest कि at least एक project तो ऐसा रखो जिसमें सारे aspects cover हो रहे हैं in a development life cycle, कि तुम्हारा front end भी अच्छा है, तुम्हारा back end भी अच्छा है, and उसे तुम्हें deploy भी करा हुआ है, जिससे तुम्हारी थोड़ी deployment skills भी दिख रही है. एंड मेक श्योर कि जो तुम्हारा बेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट है दैट इज एट द टॉप ऑफ योर रिज्यूमे, यूजुअली वो उससे शुरू करेंगे, एंड अगर उस पे अच्छी डिस्कशन हो जाती है शुरू में ही, देन दैट इज अ वेरी गुड थिंग. एंड ऑल्सो मेक श्योर कि तुम्हारा प्रोजेक्ट अगर डिप्लॉयड है, देन रिज्यूमे में तुमने लिंक डाला हुआ है उसका, एंड अगर डिप्लॉयड नहीं है, डोंट वरी, एटलीस्ट गिटहब का लिंक तो होना ही चाहिए. तो ऑलवेज पुश योर कोड टू गिटहब एंड उसका लिंक अपने रिज्यूमे में डाला करो. Yep, that's it.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya and Didi. Next question is how to prepare for DSA. I think this is a very, very, very like common and important question कि आप लोगों ने DSA कहाँ से तैयारी की? Please, if you guys answer.
Okay, so like lead code तो सभी को पता ही है और सबको करना ही चाहिए. Like that is like कहाँ तुम्हें जहाँ से starting point होना चाहिए तुम्हारी जर्नी का. अब तो काफ़ी टाइम हो गया तुम लोगों को कोडिंग कम्युनिटी में भी रहते जो लोग पार्ट हैं. हम लोग बहुत बारी यही बात रीइंफोर्स करते रहते हैं कि जो नीट कोड रोड मैप है उसको फॉलो करो, जो बिगिनर्स हैं, राइट? मे बी अरमान यू कैन शेयर द लिंक इन द चैट वंस अगेन। तो उसका नीट कोड 150 करके क्वेश्चंस हैं। सो मतलब इफ़ यू आर एबल टू कंप्लीट दैट, एंड अगर तुम लोगों को और हेल्प चाहिए सो यू कैन गो टू नीट कोड 300, उसमें कई टॉपिक्स के और क्वेश्चंस होंगे। That is the perfect place to start from. Other than that, obviously you have Code Chef, Code Forces, other places to do coding from. But personally speaking, I have only done from Leet Code. But it's not that like other places are not good. You can definitely explore them too. But I thought that Leet Code, like doing a good amount of number of questions on Leet Code is good enough. Yeah. So Garv, Harshada, Vanya.
So one more thing which I like to add was I personally started doing DSA pretty late. तो मैंने सेकेंड ईयर के बाद ही स्टार्ट किया था, स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग समर ब्रेक. सो वन थिंग, नीट कोड इज समथिंग विच आई फॉलोड. आई थिंक मैंने चैट में भी लिखा है, neetcode.io का जो 150 क्वेश्चंस का रोड मैप है, एज तिजिल सेड, ये काफ़ी अच्छा है. एंड इफ यू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम इट, इट प्रोवाइड्स यू अ गुड रोड मैप. एंड इन्होंने इस ऑर्डर में आपको क्वेश्चंस एंड टॉपिक्स अरेंज कर रखे हैं दैट एवरी प्री रिक्विजिट विल बी कवर्ड फॉर द वॉट एवर द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज दैट यू आर स्टार्टिंग. And one thing which I personally did, because time kam tha and internship season was about to start, was that I had maintained a small notebook. And whatever question I used to do, I just used to write the question name and the algorithm or logic in 1 or 2 lines, just to revise before an interview or anything. This is, and it'll also help you summarize whatever logic you are using, ऐसा. सो इट वोंट बी कि आप पूरा पूरा कोड लिख रहे हो या ऐसा कुछ, या फिर आप बहुत टाइम बाद अगर बहुत टाइम तक प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो, यू टेंड टू फॉरगेट अबाउट सम ओल्ड क्वेश्चंस या ऐसा कुछ. एंड इट इज़ गुड टू रिवाइज अ फ्यू क्वेश्चंस जो काफ़ी कॉमन लॉजिक होता है बिफोर योर इंटरव्यूज. सो व्हाट आई यूज्ड टू डू इज, मैंने एक नोटबुक बना रखी थी एंड फॉर एवरी क्वेश्चन आई जस्ट राइट डाउन 2 to 3 लाइन्स कि ये क्वेश्चन मैंने कैसे किस लॉजिक से सॉल्व किया था. एंड इफ आई हैव मल्टीपल लॉजिक्स कि अगर इस अप्रोच से भी सॉल्व हो पा रहा है एंड देयर इज अनदर अप्रोच जिससे सॉल्व हो पा रहा है व्हिच इज इवन बेटर, सो आई यूज्ड टू राइट दोज अप्रोचेस विद देयर टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज एंड आई हैड मेंटेन्ड अ स्मॉल नोटबुक. So that really helped me when I was preparing for my interview. Just if I know that my interview is scheduled on this date, I will revise my notebook, because then I won't have time to look at each and every question that I've done and all of that. So all just those logic bit snippets would help me recollect quite a lot of algorithms and all of that. So that I found pretty useful, and some of you can try it, and if you find it to be useful, then even you can use it in your preparation journey.
Thank you so much. One question is for Bedi Bhaiya. Bhaiya, what kind of tech stack startup want for remote internships? Do they have a priority?
देखो, टेक स्टैक्स तो बहुत सारे हैं जिसमें तुम कंफर्टेबल हो. यू कैन इजीली फाइंड अ स्टार्टअप जो टेक स्टैक में प्रोजेक्ट बना रहा है. बट अगर मैं एक जनरल आंसर दूं कि ज्यादातर स्टार्टअप्स क्या यूज करते हैं, तो फॉर फ्रंट एंड यूज रिएक्ट जेएस, या फिर अगर थोड़ा और एडवांस तो नेक्स्ट जेएस थोड़ा सा एडवांस है ना. एंड रिएक्ट जेएस इज नॉट समथिंग व्हिच इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू लर्न. तो कोई भी विद इन 2-3 वीक्स इजीली सीख सकता है अगर थोड़ा एचटीएमएल सीएसएस जावास्क्रिप्ट का बेसिक ग्रास्प है. एंड बैकएंड में आई वुड से रिसेंटली ज्यादातर स्टार्टअप्स या बहुत स्टार्टअप्स आर यूजिंग नोड.जेएस. एंड या फिर अगर और थोड़ा लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजीज की बात करें तो गोलैंग जैसी चीजें, रेस्ट ऑफ गोलैंग. बट मैं अगर अपने जहाँ मैं काम कर रहा था पायलट प्लान्स उसकी बात करूँ तो दे वर यूजिंग React on the front end, and back end में they were using a combination of Firebase and Node.js. And database के लिए they were using Firestore, but we had almost shifted to MongoDB. So database में I guess MySQL and MongoDB ये बहुत अच्छा, and Postgres, yes. तो टेक स्टैक में आई वुड से मर्न, या तो मर्न पे फोकस करो, और बैकएंड में इफ यू डोंट लाइक जावास्क्रिप्ट यू कैन ट्राई समथिंग लाइक Django और Golang.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya. Next question is related to CGPA. Like minimum kitna CGPA rakhna is like considered safe, and can you please tell with respect to your companies जिनमें आप लोग internship कर रहे हो, Anybody can start.
CGPA के लिए देखो above 9 और best case scenario 9.5 मतलब कर लो तो best ही है because some companies like RCGM, D, Shaw high cut ही लगाती हैं CGPA का कहने को दे से 7.5 है but होता नहीं है मतलब इंटरनली वो लोग 9+ चले जाते हैं आसानी से तो 9 से ऊपर प्रेफरेबली 9.5 बट वरना 9 से ऊपर रखने की कोशिश करो बिकॉज वो इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि काफ़ी कंपनी सीजी कट लगा देती हैं तो दैट इज लाइक नेसेसरी मतलब डोंट ट्राई कि इवन इफ योर सीजीपी इज लाइक 8.98 हो सकता है तुम सिलेक्ट ना हो अगर C9 का कट लग गया सो जस्ट टू बी ऑन द सेफर साइड 9 तो रख ही लो
Thank you so much. Next question is, how can we get referrals? This is a question many people are asking कि referrals लेने का क्या तरीका होता है, कितने ज़रूरी होते हैं? Please.
सो फॉर सम कंपनीज लाइक जैसे मैं गूगल का बताती हूँ बिकॉज मैंने गूगल में रेफरल लिया था सो मैंने CCS के ही एक सीनियर से लिया था जो कि लाइक शी इज़ बेसिकली अभी वो डबलिन में कर रहे हैं जॉब सो उनसे मैंने रेफरल लिया था तो रेफरल का कुछ प्रोसेस ऐसा होता है कि जो भी करंट एम्प्लॉई है आप उनको लिंक्डइन पे या फिर अगर आपका कोई नेटवर्क है सॉफ्ट कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं या आपकी सोसाइटी का कोई सीनियर है जो काम कर रहा है यू कैन कॉन्टैक्ट देम एंड टेल देम शेयर योर रेज्यूमे एंड टेल देम कि आई एम अप्लाइंग इन सो एंड सो कंपनी प्लीज आप रेफरल दे दो सो यूजुअली व्हाट हैपेंस आफ्टर अ रेफरल इज दैट वो अपने जॉब पोर्टल पे जाके जो भी है अपने एंड से आपकी ईमेल आईडी के थ्रू आपको एक रेफरल देते हैं एंड देन यू गेट अ सेपरेट लिंक फॉर एन एप्लीकेशन थ्रू विच यू अप्लाई and then it basically says applied with referral so the best way is if you have any soft contacts if you have any seniors in your society or if not तो फिर you can obviously reach out on to multiple people on LinkedIn try to reach out to people who like are in some way connected to you they like if they are alumni from your college that is also a good thing so वरना you can obviously reach out to anyone उसमें तो कोई issue है नहीं and then yeah these are the three sources majorly जहाँ से लोग referrals लेते हैं
एंड अबाउट माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इसमें मेरे साथ ये हुआ था कि आई वॉज अ पार्ट ऑफ अ मेंटोरशिप प्रोग्राम ऑफ वुमेन हु कोड डेली अगर आप लिंक्डइन पे देखोगे यू विल फाइंड इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट इट सो माय मेंटोर वाज फ्रॉम माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ओनली तो मैंने उनसे रेफरल मांगा था and the process in Microsoft is that it doesn't affect that you have to apply in a different link. What you have to do is you have to send your information in a third person perspective. So basically they have to write something about you when they're giving you a referral in their portal. So what they generally do is they ask you only कि आप ही भेज दो what is the third person perspective that you'd like us to write about you, and after that they'll give you a referral, they'll apply, and then you will get a mail saying that okay, you have been referred for this position by this employee, and if you want to you can share your progress with them, and if you don't want to you can restrict sharing your progress, but you don't have to apply separately. So for me I had applied earlier and I got the referral later, so I didn't have to wait for a referral before my applications. I'm not sure how the referral cases for other companies.
Thank you so much. So the next question, which is coming too much, is related to branch. That how much does a branch matters? और कोई इंसान इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स का है या फिर इवन लोअर ब्रांचेस तो how much chance does he have for internships and to secure a tech job?
See,
Okay, sure. Yes, thanks. Right. So, in short, I don't think it matters. But like as far as like college is concerned, college whenever company comes on campus, they may restrict only some branches to apply, like COE, CSE, ENC, and all the computer branches. But in off campus, it does not matter that much. They would not look at your brand. They would rather look at your skills and your CV. So yeah, Tijil, if you have anything to add.
yeah, so basically for on campus, if you're asking this question, So there are some companies who come for some particular branches, like ऐसा हो सकता है कि कुछ company just for ECE या फिर electronics के branches के लिए आ रही, जैसे Texas Instrumentals, I think it's a good company. One of our seniors is working there. That comes only for electronics. CS के बच्चे उसमें नहीं बैठ सकते. Similarly, some companies will come and they'll prefer CS students and will not prefer other branches. Like, but it goes both ways. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि तुम्हारी branch अगर different CS नहीं है तो तुम्हें काफी प्रॉब्लम होगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस लास्ट ईयर एक कंपनी आई थी जिंदल स्टील करके. देर वॉज नॉट लाइक ज़्यादा हाई स्टाइपेंड नहीं था, बट जस्ट फॉर एग्जाम्पल से एक बता रही हूँ. सो टुवर्ड्स द एंड क्या हुआ कि लाइक काफ़ी बच्चे इंटरव्यूज के लिए शॉर्टलिस्ट हुए थे, बट दे एंडेड अप नॉट टेकिंग इंटरव्यूज ऑफ द CS स्टूडेंट्स एट ऑल बिकॉज दे वांटेड स्टूडेंट्स फ्रॉम अदर ब्रांचेस. सो ऐसा भी होता है, ऐसा नहीं, बट देन अगेन देर आर सम कंपनीज जो सिर्फ CS के बच्चों को लेती हैं, जो बाकी ब्रांचेस के बच्चों को नहीं लेती हैं. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ अगर तुम CS में हो तभी इंटर्नशिप लगेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. लाइक इट गोज बोथ वेज.
But for off campus, I'd like to add कि जो ने बताया on campus में there will be restriction branch wise. But off campus में I've seen many people even in Microsoft, काफी सारे लोग biotechnology के भी हैं who are interning in software engineering roles. So I don't think off campus में it would affect that much, but हाँ on campus में it will affect.
Next question is an interesting one, which is, what is the difference between applying for internships in India and foreign? Are there any perks of a foreign internship? Maybe if any of you have experience.
Okay.
या तो देखो, जैसे मैंने काम करा था कैनेडियन स्टार्टअप में, तो इसमें वन मेजर डिफरेंस आई नोटिस कंपेयर टू अदर पीपल आई न्यू जो इंडिया की किसी कंपनी में काम कर रहे हैं, इज द वर्क कल्चर डिफरेंस. लाइक फॉरेन कंपनीज यूजुअली स्टार्टअप्स का कल्चर आई थिंक इज वेरी गुड. जैसे मेरे में इट वाज वेरी फ्लेक्सिबल आज की दिन में तुम्हें जब भी काम करना है कर सकते हो, एंड यू डिसाइड द थिंग्स तुम्हें क्यों जिस चीज पे काम करना है. तो जैसे वीकली मीट्स होती है, उसमें मैनेजर आस्क यू कि इस हफ्ते तुम बताओ तुम क्या अचीव कर पाओगे. तो ऐसा कल्चर यूजुअली इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स में दिखता नहीं है. इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स और ऑल अबाउट कि पूरा दिन काम करते रहो, जल्दी रिलीज करो, ये करो. तो आई थिंक देयर इज अ बिग कल्चर डिफरेंस. एंड अनदर थिंग इज कि पे का बहुत डिफरेंस होता है. इंडियन स्टार्टअप्स यूजुअली इतना पे नहीं करेंगे, स्पेशली टू कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स. बट अगर तुम किसी फॉरेन कंट्री किसी स्टार्टअप में रिमोटली काम कर रहे हो, दे डोंट केयर अबाउट कि तुम कॉलेज में हो या कॉलेज के बाहर हो, कि कौन सी ईयर में हो, कौन से कॉलेज या कौन सी ब्रांच में हो. तो यूजुअली दे विल पे यू वेरी वेल. Dil, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, so like as Harshaduk said, but he majorly has covered for remote internships. If someone is wondering in the audience about getting an off-campus internship abroad, I'll be honest with you guys, it is very difficult because most companies, like you will see many openings for companies like Google and JP Morgan having openings in Singapore and Dublin and all of that. But it is very rare for people to, I'm not saying don't go for it, of course, apply for it. And अगर हो गया तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है, लेकिन chances बहुत कम होते हैं उसके लिए. So because one major reason is that because companies don't want to reimburse that much on people coming from abroad, because they will have to spend more money like on you and your flight tickets and your stay and all of that. So for those reasons, off campus internships abroad like बहुत rarely होती हैं, just in case someone was wondering. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add on. Rest Harsidak has already covered.
So next question is a scenario, as बहुत सारे बच्चे हम फर्स्ट ईयर सेकंड ईयर में जा रहे हैं और लाइक दे वांटेड टू आस्क कि उन्होंने लाइक बेसिक डीएसए कर रखा है डेवलपमेंट में, कैन दे स्टार्ट विद वेब डेव, क्योंकि बहुत लोग वेब डेव करते हैं और उस पे लाइक देयर आर मैनी टेक स्टैक्स यू कैन चूज, या फिर आजकल एआईएमएल का काफी बूम है, तो व्हाट टेक स्टैक शुड दे चूज, लाइक इफ यू हैव एनी प्रेफरेंस और एनी गाइडेंस.
Right. So like what I'd like to just mention here is that like suppose like for all I'm like for most of us, like whenever you go into an internship, what you know and what you're asked to do are very different things. Most of us have been asked to learn new tech stacks altogether, something that we don't know. So what matters the most is your problem solving skills and your ability to grasp things quickly. But as far as tech stacks are concerned, I would say it is a benefit to have a mix of both the things, AI/ML and web dev, into your CV. But if you're like really good at something, then make sure to specialize. So there are like two things that you can do. Either you can generalize or you can specialize, but you have to pick what is your way to go forward. So that is an approach you can follow. Either you can go deep into one domain and take that as your strength, or you can generalize and give the interviewer time to saying that you have a good experience working with different tools altogether. Yeah.
Arman?
हाँ जी. So next question is, like, how does cold emailing works? Like, does it work only for small startups or big tech as well? Utkarsh is asking this question.
यार कोल्ड ईमेलिंग आई वुड से स्मॉल स्टार्टअप्स में ज़्यादा सक्सेसफुल होती है. ऐसा नहीं है कि बिग टेक में काम नहीं करती. बिग टेक में इट वुड यूजुअली वर्क अगर अगर कोई ऑलरेडी ओपनिंग है एंड तुम्हें रेफरल चाहिए तो रेफरल तुम्हें मिल जाएगा. बट वो अलग से तुम्हारे लिए इंटरव्यू शेड्यूल कराए, दैट इज वेरी रेयर. स्टार्टअप्स में यू कैन मेल एन एम्प्लॉय एंड वो यूजुअली हायर कर ही रहे होते हैं. वो चाहती है कि कोई फ्रेश टैलेंट आए नए पर्सपेक्टिव से उनको. इफ यू somehow get an email of an employee, so it is always worth to try emailing them with your resume. एंड अगर तुम कोल्ड ईमेल कर रहे हो तो मेक श्योर कि तुम्हारी पहली ईमेल में सारी चीजें जो तुम कन्वे करना चाहते हो कवर्ड है, स्पेशली योर रिज्यूमे, है ना. तो या, इफ एनीबॉडी वांट्स टू ऐड.
Another question is कि जो resume होता है उसमें experience section में what can people put? Like people have really doubts कि what can they fill in that section?
Alright, so abhi see, do not stress over this issue because companies know कि तुम लोग अभी second year में ही हो, college में हो, तो बहुत ज़्यादा experience नहीं होगा, right? So in case तुम लोग अगर किसी society का part हो and like तो तुम वो mention कर सकते हो and like तुम उसको experience की जगह position of responsibility डाल के लिख सकते हो. या फिर अगर तुम में से किसी ने internship करी, because कई लोग होते हैं जो second year में भी कर लेते हैं, तो अगर फिर तो वो लिख ही सकते हो. अदर देन दैट यू कैन मेंशन इफ यू आर लाइक अ सोसाइटी में तुमने कुछ करा हो एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट तुम लिख सकते हो. बट उसका ज़्यादा स्ट्रेस मत लो बिकॉज कंपनीज नो कि तुम अभी कॉलेज में हो तो अभी उतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होगा. सो दैट इज नॉट अ वेरी ह्यूज क्राइटेरिया.
Yes, and जैसे तिजल ने बताया, it's important if you are in some societies या फिर if you have some positions of responsibility, like if you are in the council or अगर school में you are in student council and यहाँ पे you are in some leadership role, make sure you've mentioned it. And one more thing for MNCs is that if you are in some organization which does some social work, जैसे if you have Rotaract Club or all of these clubs which do social work, and you are a member in that and you have done something, make sure you've written about it because this is something that they like to see, that if okay you have leadership role in all of this societies and you have done some social work as well. So if you want to change, you can change that heading as positions of responsibility instead of calling it experience. And once you have done some internships, you can add them under the section of experience. But ऐसा फिक्स नहीं होता कि तुम्हें यही हेडिंग चाहिए and इसी के अंडर तुम्हारे को चीज़ें फिक्स करनी. You can customize your resume according to what you want to display. And for that I was using Flow CV. एक website है Flow CV, because Overleaf में normally resumes बनाते हैं but that is a bit complicated. If you want some easy UI जिसमें you can customize things easily, then Flow CV तुम लोग use कर सकते हो. I personally recommend it to everyone.
Continuing to that, Vanya Didi, the question is from Priyanshi. how can we make ATS friendly resume?
Okay, so ATS friendly resumes में one thing ATS scanner does as per my knowledge is that it matches the keywords जैसे मैंने पहले बताया था. So make sure that before you're applying to a company एक generalized resume रख लो, but make sure to tweak it a bit before applying to any particular company. तो अपने company का जो भी job description है जिसमें you're applying, make sure you have a look at it and identify what are the skills they ask for. कभी कभार वो लोग and mainly for third year internships they'll ask about object oriented programming languages, DSA and all of this. So make sure you have added those keywords in your, be it your skill section or your certificates. जैसे for example you've done some object oriented programming course, तो उस course का certification डाल दो. And if there are some leadership principles that they are asking, make sure you have them in your soft skills. So आपको अपना resume tweak करना है according to the company. If they have some financial terms written and you have some knowledge about that or you have done certification, उसको लिख दो. So mainly what you have to do is you have to adjust your resume in such a way कि जो keywords हैं they match, and your words should be some actionable words जैसे बहुत सारे resumes में. And make sure to avoid paragraphs. लंबे लंबे lines मत लिखो. Have bullet points and write very short, crisp and concise lines about whatever you are mentioning about. And action words use करो जैसे I I grew this much, ये कुछ भी ऐसे. So you'll find I'll share a resource if I can find, उसमें action words लिखे हैं which you can use in your resume. Mainly what the thing is, don't make it cluttered ज़्यादा, don't make it ज़्यादा paragraphs because no one has that much time to read. अगर वो एक recruiter के पास आ भी जाए, बहुत बड़े paragraphs पढ़ने का time नहीं होगा. And it is preferred that you keep your resume एक page का ही. And if अगर बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें हो रही हैं then it is preferred that जो सबसे ज़्यादा important है उन्हीं को रखो. And we can share some resume samples with all of you जिसको you can refer कि किस टाइप का blank, किस टाइप का template would be a better preferred template for resumes.
One thing I'd like to add is कि make sure जो भी तुम project से experience में points लिख रहे हो, most of them are quantified. अब quantified का मतलब ये है कि there is a number associated with the bullet point that you are writing. तो जैसे मैं एग्जांपल दूं, ज्यादातर लोग सोसाइटीज में होंगे एंड उसमें कुछ करा होगा, तो उसमें यू कैन राइट लीड अ टीम ऑफ 5 टू अकम्प्लिश दिस. अगर कोई मान लियो प्रोजेक्ट बनाया है, उसमें लिख दो एडेड 30 प्लस फीचर्स टू डू दिस, है ना. ऐसे चीजें करके यू हैव टू क्वांटिफाई कि उन्हें थोड़ा आइडिया हो जाए कि इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या था. अगर मान लो तुम्हारा कोई प्रोजेक्ट लोग लाइव यूज कर रहे हैं, तो ऐसा कुछ लिख सकते हो, यूज बाय 500 प्लस पीपल लाइव, या फिर हैड 10,000 यूजर्स, या ऐसा कुछ ऐड करके लिख दो, है ना. बट ट्राई टू क्वांटिफाई अ लॉट ऑफ योर पॉइंट्स.
All right. Another thing that I'd like to add is that so like Vanya mentioned adding the relevant keywords to your CV to make those ATS friendly. So a good way of doing that is that you can, if you have like a line or two that is you're not able to fill into your CV, you can add the coursework that you have done. So in most cases they would have that in the job requirement, and that is also something like object oriented programming, operating systems, uh, DA हो गया, analysis of algorithms, stuff like that. You can add to your CV. Those would work both ways. They would know that what coursework you have studied, and it would also help like making your resume more ATS friendly. And if you have even like some more space left in your CV, you can add stuff like soft skills, or just like something like IT construct, something like generative AI, or something like blockchain, so that you can rank better among other participants.
A quick question. A person is asking resume में photo डालनी चाहिए कि नहीं?
Depends if the company is asking. जैसे JP Morgan asks for a photograph, so then only add, but otherwise in general don't add a photograph in your resume.
Vanya Didi, I have a question for you. Is Python okay for Microsoft?
For tests or for the projects here?
I guess if you can answer both, it is not specified.
For coding languages in your interviews, there is no language barrier. You can use Python, you can use C++, you can use Java, any language that you're comfortable in. They're not checking your syntactical skills, they'll be checking your algorithm and problem solving skills. Because आप एक problem को approach कैसे कर रहे हो, all of that is what matters उनको, but not your what language you're using. So if you're using Python, feel free to use Python. ऐसा कोई restriction नहीं है, and it is a general case for almost every company. They won't restrict you on the basis of language, but yes, it is preferred if you can use an object oriented programming language. C++ या Java काफी लोग prefer करते हैं for interviews, but Python का भी for all my friends जिनका मैंने देखा है, किसी को मना नहीं किया था to use Python in their interviews.
Thank you so much. Question for Bedi Bhaiya. Is cloud computing worth doing in 2024?
यार क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग इज अ वेरी वास्ट फील्ड है ना. तुम्हें अगर क्लाउड से रिलेटेड कुछ भी है तो बेसिक चीजें है कि क्लाउड में एक डिप्लॉयमेंट मैनेज करनी आनी चाहिए ज्यादातर, अगर तुम्हें डेवलपमेंट स्किल एनहांस करनी है. बट उससे ज्यादा आई डोंट थिंक इन डेप्थ जाने की जरूरत है, बिकॉज एज सच जैसे पहले भी बताया हुआ है कि कंपनी में यूजुअली जो काम वो कर रहे हैं, जिस टेक स्टैक में कर रहे हैं, वो तुम्हें सीख के वही करना पड़ेगा. तो इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी कि तुम्हारी जो प्रायर इन डेप्थ नॉलेज होगी वो बहुत ज्यादा काम आएगी उधर. बट ऑफ कोर्स अगर तुम्हारा बहुत इंटरेस्ट उस फील्ड में हो रहा है देन यू कैन एक्सप्लोर इट, बट इट्स नॉट वेरी नेसेसरी. एंड आई थिंक अगर तुम वही टाइम डीएसए एंड एससीपी में स्पेंड करोगे तो इट वुड बी मोर प्रोडक्टिव.
Okay. Another question. अगर किसी इंसान को सीपी में बहुत इंटरेस्ट हो, लाइक वो कॉन्टेस्ट वगैरह देता हो, लेकिन उसकी प्रोजेक्ट्स थोड़े से प्रोजेक्ट और डेवलपमेंट थोड़ी सी वीक हो, तो इज इट गुड इनफ या व्हाट शुड यू डू? एनी गाइडेंस ऑन दैट? मे बी दीदी.
Honestly, देखो इसमें कोई घबराने वाली बात है नहीं. You can have some good projects, like try to make some projects if you can and put them on your resume. Like जिन companies में resume discussion होता है उनमें फिर भी projects can have weightage, but yes, there are some companies who only like recruit on the basis of DSA. As I mentioned, Amazon में they did not like, मैं ही उनको बता रही थी कि like मेरा ये experience है, मैंने ये project बनाया and all of this, but they were not really asking me anything about it. उनको सिर्फ और सिर्फ DSA से फर्क पड़ रहा था. So it depends from company to company, but yes, of course, it is better to have a project than not having one at all. So it is good, मतलब try कर लो, अगर बन सकता है तो एक बना ही लो, I would say. ऐसे मत करो कि सिर्फ DSA के बेसिस पे आगे जा रहे हैं, एक रखना is better only.
One thing I would like to tell all जो YouTube पे भी देख रहा है, please do not repeat your questions. अगर आपका क्वेश्चन नहीं लिया जा रहा, it is either answered in some other question or it is not relevant to this session. A question for Vanya Didi. Can you tell a little bit more about your mentorship session?
Mentorship was not related to my Microsoft process. It was something I did in my summer break essay. So I think it's for all the girls. You can apply it. LinkedIn पे you can search for women who code Delhi. मैं type कर देती हूँ. It is an organization जो free में you'll find applications जब भी इनके खुलते हैं. I think in my 4th semester I applied. I just saw on LinkedIn कि उनके applications खुले थे and I applied. So it's just a Google form. You have to tell about yourself and some of your achievements, and then after a while you get shortlisted for mentorship cohorts. So उसमें होता क्या है कि they divide you into a group of 3, and for every group of 3 they have a mentor assigned. एंड वो आपसे पहले पूछते हैं कि आपका अभी इंटरेस्ट क्या है, आर यू लुकिंग फॉर फुल टाइम रोल और आर यू लुकिंग फॉर इंटर्नशिप्स और डू यू वांट टू नो मोर अबाउट ओपन सोर्स. तो वो आपसे पूरा पूछते हैं व्हाट इज योर इंटरेस्ट फॉर दिस मेंटरशिप. सो मैंने इंटर्नशिप डाला था, एंड फॉर मी आई गॉट उर्वी गोयल एज माई मेंटोर. मेनी ऑफ यू माइट नो हु शी इज, बट she is in Microsoft only, and she had interned in Microsoft 3 times उससे पहले, and she teaches in physics wala, also college wala. सो मैंने उस पर अप्लाई किया था एंड व्हाट वाज द बेनिफिट ऑफ दैट वाज कि सिर्फ 3 लोगों को एक मेंटर मिल रहा था एंड फॉर एवरी पर्सन शी यूज्ड टू कंडक्ट इंडिविजुअल सेशंस सो every let's say every 3 days I'll have a call with her and so basically I was starting my DSA journey and my internship preparation journey so she guided me कि पहले ऐसे कर लो prepare ऐसे कर लो prepare and about DSA roadmap she told me that start with IAS तो मैंने नीट कोड का पैटर्न स्टार्ट किया था सो शी सेड कि दैट्स फाइन वो फॉलो करो एंड आफ्टर दैट when you reach complex topics like backtracking and DP इनका एक फिक्स्ड ऑर्डर है कि you should know recursion सबसे पहले for backtracking उसके बाद ही you should start DP and उसके बाद ही so recursion के बाद ही you should start trees also because उसमें mainly recursion use होता है and graphs is not that related with anything and she told me कि graphs आप end पे prefer करो पढ़ना because many companies में graphs कम पूछा जाता है mainly जो बाकी prominent topics है वो ज़्यादा पूछे जाते हैं but graphs is something that you can easily do and about resources also she told me I can watch Striver so that's what I did मैंने arrays से लेकर queues तक के topics and before recursion जो मैं नीट कोड रोड मैप में वो नीट कोड से ही follow किए थे and directly वहीं से किया था that is sufficient they have videos also for logic so you will understand the logic and then you can code it up and syntax का idea पड़ जाएगा that is great after that recursion and backtracking की playlist है striver की take you forward channel की and for trees also it has a playlist and for DP also it has a playlist graphs की भी playlist all of that I watched from take you forward only so that was mainly it after that I used to just ask her if I'm having any doubt कि interview में कैसे you should talk to an interviewer or what all questions you should ask या फिर जब आप introduce कर रहे हो अपने आप को how should you have an effective introduction because you have a limited time and उस time में you have to explain about yourself to the interviewer because आप जानते हो अपने आप को आपके friends जानते हैं अपने आप को but the interviewer doesn't know who you are so you have to sell yourself in that 2-minute time span and you have to so what she told me was I like to share it with all of you कि पहले tell about your achievements कि in general say what branch you are in what's your name और ऐसे then start talking about your achievements कुछ भी achievement मान लो if you've received a merit scholarship तो उसके बारे में बताओ कि what was the CGPA you got and you got a merit scholarship या ऐसा कुछ and then after telling about your achievements your interests or your projects if you've done some project जो आपका college use कर रहा है talk about that or if you've done something on your own talk about that and end में just to make things a bit calmer and आपकी भी anxiety खत्म होगी इस चीज से talk about some fun facts about yourself it should not always be technical it should always have some informality so that you and your interviewer can have a good discussion it might be कि there is something common if you're telling let's say you're a potterhead and तुम्हारा interview भी potterhead निकला you can have some more discussion points and Garv ने भी बताया था in his answer that the question he asked struck a good discussion and he asked a good question so same thing happened with me also so what she told me was कि always अपने intro के बाद में एक fun fact बता दिया करो about yourself that is something which is not really relevant to all the technical aspects but it is something that surprises many people so जैसे मेरा fun fact था कि I had received a junior diploma in painting when I was in 3rd grade in school so that was something I used to tell in every interview so it used to surprise the interviewers it could be anything if you're a national level player or a state level player in some sport tell it or something like that so ऐसे छोटे छोटे tips I was asking anything which I was having any doubts about so that is what the mentorship session was about and I would suggest that those of you who know about it now apply because it's very good and it'll help you only and you'll get motivated talking to your mentor as well so and ऐसे if you have any such doubts feel free to ask right now हम वही चीज कर रहे हैं अभी आपके लिए so we'll answer whatever we can
वाना दीदी की एक बात को ही आगे बढ़ाते हुए what are like is there any courses like on Udemy Coursera or maybe on YouTube which you guys recommend like जिससे आपने DSC सीखा हो या कुछ भी डेवलपमेंट सीखी हो maybe if you can put some light on this
सो फॉर मी अब्दुल बारी का एक कोर्स है C++ बिगिनर टू एडवांस, मैंने वो देखा था बहुत पहले एंड बहुत अच्छे से उसने उसमें C++ कराई थी एंड उन्होंने उसके बाद ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग भी कराया था। तो मेरे को याद है माय सेमेस्टर आई यूज्ड टू रेफर टू हिज वीडियोस फॉर ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग। सो बहुत अच्छे से ही हैड टॉट अबाउट ऑल द एग्जाम्पल्स एंड एवरीथिंग, ऑल द कॉन्सेप्ट्स उन्होंने रियल लाइफ एग्जाम्पल्स ले लेके बताया था। And this is something which helped me in my interview also, because whenever they ask you about something, especially in object oriented programming terms, they'll prefer कि आप bookish definition ना दो. If you can explain using real life examples, that is much better. तो वो चीज़ मुझे बहुत हेल्प की थी and that is a course I'll recommend to everyone. And अब्दुल बारी का data structures का भी course है, that is also really good. I had referred to those courses and then Striver for my interview preparations and for my data structure preparations. So Striver, NeetCode and Abdul Bari is all that I referred to. बाकी if you're looking for course books, then initially जो लोग first year में हैं उनके लिए Let Us See is a good book for C language. C++ के लिए I use that Udemy course only. बाकी if anyone else has done some other courses which help them, they can answer.
Anyone on this?
राइट मैं अपना डीएसए के बता दूं मैंने कहाँ से शुरू करा था. आई वॉच लकबबर्स प्लेलिस्ट एंड मैं ये इतना नहीं कहूंगा कि अच्छी है बुरी है. इट वाज डिसेंट एंड सारे टॉपिक्स कवर कर लिए थे. बट अ थिंग विद डूइंग कोर्सेज लाइक दीस इज कि ये बहुत लंबे कोर्सेज होते हैं. लाइक इट आई थिंक लकबबर की जो डीएसए प्लेलिस्ट है इट इजीली स्पैन्ड ओवर 100 आवर्स. तो इसमें द थिंग इज कि तुम्हारी मोटिवेशन बहुत हाई होनी चाहिए. कि अगर तुम इतना बड़ा जो सारे क्वेश्चंस करा रहे हैं ऐसा कोई कोर्स खत्म करो, है ना. बिकॉज इसमें क्या होता है ही गोज ओवर ईच क्वेश्चन एंड उसका पूरा सॉल्यूशन इन डेप्थ एक्सप्लेन करता है तो बहुत लेंथ बढ़ जाती है. तो फॉर डीएस आई वुड रिकमेंड कि डू समथिंग लाइक अब्दुल बारी ओनली, क्योंकि वो बेसिक डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स के बारे में बताता है. एंड देन आफ्टर दैट यू कैन फॉलो अ शीट लाइक नीट कोड 150 जिसमें तुम क्वेश्चंस करते करते फिर और कॉन्सेप्ट्स डेवलप कर रहे होते हैं. उसमें तुम बेसिकली अपना टाइम बहुत ज्यादा सेव करोगे. एंड ये भी नहीं होगा कि तुम बर्न आउट हो जाओगे वीडियोस देख देख के. बिकॉज ऐसा होता है कि तुम कोर्स हेल में चले जाते हो. कोर्स हेल ऐसा होता है कि तुम बस कोर्सेज करते रहते हो एंड उसे इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर पाते उसके बाद. तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि तुम क्वेश्चंस के थ्रू ज्यादा लर्निंग रखो जिससे थोड़ा लर्निंग तुम्हारी जल्दी हो जाए. मैं फिर डेफ के बारे में भी थोड़ा बता देता हूँ. डेव में आई डिड रिएक्ट जेएस के लिए आई वुड रिकमेंड कि मैक्सिमिलियन करके एक यूडीमी पे बंदा है एंड उसका एक कोर्स है रिएक्ट का. दैट इज अ वेरी गुड कोर्स. इसमें भी अगेन सेम चीज ही कहूंगा कि वीडियोस तुम देखते रहोगे बट सिर्फ यही मत करना कि पूरी जो कोर्स प्लेलिस्ट है वो ग्राइंड कर लो एक बार में. इफ यू कंप्लीट अ मॉड्यूल फिर थोड़ा प्रैक्टिकली इम्प्लीमेंट करने का ट्राई करना उसको. इनफैक्ट ज्यादातर अच्छे कोर्सेज में जो डेवलपमेंट वाले हैं उसमें जो इंस्ट्रक्टर है वही तुम्हें एक टास्क दे देगा कि ये इम्प्लीमेंट करके दिखाओ एंड तुम उसे कर लोगे. दैट शुड बी मोर देन इनफ. बट फिर कोर्स उस तरीके से करना कि तुम रुक के टास्क कर रहे हो एंड उसके बाद कंटिन्यू कर रहे हो. दैट्स इट.
एक डाउट जो लोग पूछ रहे हैं वो ये है कि लाइक कुछ लोग बोलते हैं कि इंडस्ट्री में पाइथन बहुत यूज होता है, लाइक सम सेज की जावा बहुत यूज होता है. तो लाइक दे ट्राई टू फॉलो द थिंग दैट द इंडस्ट्री नीड्स. तो उस पर आपको क्या ठीक है कि मे बी दिस क्वेश्चन इज क्वाइट सिमिलर टू टेक्स्ट टेक वाला क्वेश्चन, बट लाइक पीपल आर आस्किंग दिस कि व्हाट आर योर लाइक थॉट्स ऑन जावा एंड स्प्रिंग बूट. Anybody can answer.
Right. So I think like most of big tech uses Java and Spring Boot for their backend. But like as we've been like taught in college and what we see other people doing around is like very few people do Java Spring Boot. But that is like not that big of a factor. You can always learn when you go into your internship. So all that matters is like the kind of skills you have. But as far as from a big tech perspective, still Java Spring Boot is used in a lot of companies. So if you do try to learn that, and if you have develop an interest into that, so you'll definitely have some sort of an advantage.
And in Microsoft, for backend and almost for my project at least, the entire tech stack is related to C Sharp and .NET frameworks. So it depends what you'll get. Maybe you've done something and you'll get something completely different, as Gaurav told us earlier. So what mainly matters is how you're able to adapt to new technologies. That is why they test your problem solving skills. So they will give you resources over there also to learn something new, because they don't expect you to know everything at once. But what matters is कि क्या चीज़ उस time पे relevant है, because if you dive into a sea, there is a lot of things that can be learned and बहुत time waste होगा. So you need to know what is relevant and what you have to learn in order to proceed forward in less time.
Also, like I would like to emphasize on this point, कि when you like get into a company, like if you're interning or it's a full-time role, and it is a software development engineer role, ठीक है, it can be anything related to software development. ऐसा नहीं कि जो तुमने सीख के गए हो वही तुम्हें आएगा, या जो तुमने इंटरव्यू में डिस्कस किया था वही तुम्हें उसमें डेवलपमेंट होगा. तुम्हें कुछ भी वो दे सकते हैं, जो भी उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट है उसके हिसाब से तुम्हें वो सीखना पड़ेगा. As Vanya mentioned, that is why they focus more on your problem solving skills, कि तुम कोड का लॉजिक कितने अच्छे से समझ पा रहे हो और तुम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर पाओगे कि नहीं, तुम उसे ऑप्टिमाइज कर पाओगे कि नहीं. And as far as Amazon is concerned, Amazon में majorly Java and Kotlin use होता है. For most, जितना मैंने देखा at least, majorly Java या Kotlin होता है, but then again front end frameworks के लिए TypeScript use करते हैं ये लोग. Yeah. बट ये एक्सपेक्टेशन मत रखना कि अगर मैं ये टेक स्टैक बहुत अच्छे से कर लूँ, बहुत इन डेप्थ में कर लूँ, तो मेरे को यही मिलेगा कंपनी में जाके. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. वो तुम्हें कुछ भी दे सकते हैं, जो भी उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट होगी बिजनेस की, उसके हिसाब से.
Thank you so much. This was wonderfully answered. Like this question was asked by many people. कि tech stack कौन सा? So to summarize, कि you can do whatever tech stack you find good. Eventually, you have to change according to the company's need. Next question is for Vanya Didi. Is there any mentorship sessions available for boys?
Not that I'm aware of, but see, those sessions are mainly about someone who has been through all of that before, and they can guide you for the same. So if you want, if you have any doubt, then CCS is offering such a good platform. किसी से भी you can ask. If we have any knowledge, we will help you. But if I get to know about any such mentorship program, I'll inform you via CCS only. And have a look out LinkedIn maybe. So what people do is they reach out to many employees who are working in such companies, and they just generally ask for doubts. So if you want to ask about doubts or something, they won't say no कि हम नहीं बताएंगे. Many people are there to help you out. You just need to ask. So it is just about, जैसे कोई question है ना, don't shy away. Just ask anything, because that might be the question which is going